Hey, it's Jeremy Larson with Helitone, and today we're going to do a walkthrough of our newest instrument, Scarbo. Scarbo continues in the tradition of postcard piano in the sense that we are trying our best to make things that are really fun to play and that keep you from, hanging out on music sample sites, just scrolling and clicking and hunting for sounds, rather than making the sounds and making music yourself. So we're going to do a few things today. We're going to watch the trailer for Scarbo, the teaser for Scarbo, listen to the sounds that were used to make it. And then afterwards, we're going to go through a bunch of the other design patches that were not in the trailer. There's a lot to get through and a lot that I want you to hear. But briefly first, I do want to talk a little bit more about the idea behind Scarbo. We were very intentional about thinking about like how many different design patches to give you because in theory, the more the better, right? I don't feel that way. I think if you're to take the analogy of like the old model for cable television, we kind of went that route where it's like, oh, it's the best value because you get 500-600 channels. But I don't think that anyone wants that anymore because the options weren't really quality and you spent most of your time hunting for something to watch instead of actually watching something. So we wanted to make 25 design patches that are curated, that are very versatile, that are that are going to inspire creativity out of you, where you can load them up, start turning the knobs, and just get ideas and start writing music. Scarbo is an instrument that's meant to be played. You're going to use your mod wheel, and there's a mod wheel on the interface in case you have a keyboard that doesn't have a mod wheel. There's two knobs, the mood knob and the movement knob, that do essentially what you probably think they would do. The movement knob increases or decreases different like LFOs. Sometimes it's a delay, but any movement that's happening, it increases or decreases that. The mood knob is usually affecting some sort of insert, whether it be, a tape saturation or a chorus or a phaser, or sometimes it's an EQ. But they're fairly self-explanatory. And then you also have the AHDSR knobs. Again, we wanted to make these really flexible, versatile, and want you to be able to get a lot of different sounds out of every single design patch. So first up for today, let's go ahead and take a look at the trailer that we made. In case you haven't seen it, I'll put the trailer up in the corner so you can kind of watch the video that we made along with the sounds that are playing in the track. Okay, so let's dive into some of these sounds that we just listened to, starting with this 808 patch. I'll go ahead and solo it. So I'm just going to show you this real quick, and the other trailer utilizes this a little bit more, but when you turn this movement up, then there's this kind of pitching delay effect that happens. When you turn the mod wheel up, you get kind of some interesting sounds. Let me show you. Something that I found that's kind of interesting is that if you will attach your mod wheel to the attack, because on this one I haven't assigned the mod wheel to do anything else, partially for this reason. On a Mac, hit Control-click on the attack, and you can have your mod wheel assigned to control the attack. And if you're on a PC, it's probably right-click, learn MIDI CC automation, and then just wiggle the mod wheel, and it'll learn it. And so it's kind of fun to mess with leaving this delay effect on, and then kind of automating the attack, because it not only affects the attack, but it almost acts like a kind of like a low pass filter. So that's kind of fun. I do a little bit more with that in the teaser that we're going to look at in a minute. So let's move on. Next one is called Shadow Lags. It's not an arbitrary name. To me, this kind of sounds like there's like a shadow behind the note. It's like you hear the note and then there's this kind of like shadowy thing behind it that kind of vaporizes afterwards. And that can be controlled by the mod wheel a little bit. The way I'm using this patch, like on this particular track, is like it's a bass, but it's also a part of the rhythm. Let me solo it and show it to you. So as you can hear, the bass is kind of like stepping on the other part in a really cool way. If you hear what I'm saying. So let's turn the movement all the way off. Hear what that sounds like. Kind of pretty. Just for fun, let's turn these all the way down. It's very dreamy sounding. Let's hear what it sounds like with the mood all the way up. So it's a sign that the patch is working if I'm making a video and I start getting distracted in a good way. Anyway, we have a lot to get to. Let's move on. That is Shadow Lags. Next, let's look at this Recluse. Solo it. It was kind of a funny thing that happened like in the course of making this automation with the mod wheel. It kind of had this little flip out thing at the end that I thought was really cool. It's kind of a cool sound. So in this one, I was kind of using this while moving the mod wheel, which is like using like a low pass filter. But as always, there's a lot of things you can do with it. I want to stay brief, but let's try turning the... Well, first of all, with turning the movement down, you hear like a little bit of a pitchy vibrato thing happening. You can take that off. Or make it more extreme. Turn it off. Let's see if we can make a different kind of instrument with it. And sometimes if you just like pull all these knobs all the way down, it'll be silent for a minute, but then just kind of gradually start turning them back up, see what happens. Can even turn that attack down. This might be cool. So anyway, a lot that you can do with that. Let's move on to the next one, which is called Hex. It's kind of similar to Recluse in a way. Let's hear it in the track. And now it's probably a good time to mention that every sound that you hear in both of these trailers is all happening within Kontakt. I am not using any other plugins. I'm not using any other effects. These are all in Kontakt. Some of them I think there's maybe like one or two that I might have added a reverb in Kontakt. So again, if you're using Kontakt, then you'll have access to those as well. But these are all, every sound that you hear on here, you can make yourself. You don't have to buy anything else. You don't have to add plugins. These are all, most of these are going to be just the way that it loads. So let's mess with this one a little bit. Kind of like the last one, the mod wheel is going to affect like a low pass filter. This one I've actually have quite a bit of reverb on it for this track because I like the way there's like a plate reverb on there that I think is kind of cool. Now the movement on this one is kind of almost like a glitchy thing that's happening, which is really interesting. And then, yeah, you can always add more of these effects. Okay, moving on to the next one. This one's a really fun patch. This one is called Hornet Unrested. I love naming these. I usually hate naming things, but like on a lot of these, they just sounded like something to me, and I hope they do for you. I hope it still makes sense. But so this one, Hornet Unrested, I'll let you hear a little bit of what this one is in the track. There's some modulation happening that you'll see. Oh, I already changed my drum settings. Okay. Well, let's just solo it then. So there's some modulation happening. This movement you can change to different rhythm patterns. Most of the patches, like on this one, are going to be using like a 16th note pattern because that's just kind of the vibe of the song. it just kind of sounded like, you know, hornets to me. You can add more of that movement if you want. Make those hornets a little bit angrier. Let's turn that movement down. Anyway, a lot of different things you can do with this one. Change the attack. Yeah, you could, so making some sounds that are like a lot less aggressive, really toning it down. That's kind of interesting because there is like a pitch up kind of thing happening on this delay. Let's see what happens if we slow it down even more. It's kind of nice. We started with something really aggressive and ended with something that was kind of pleasant to listen to. Let's go to the next one, the Hallowing. This is kind of like a combination of some string samples with some sawtooth samples. We can increase this movement to make it even more exaggerated. Of course, you could take this attack down if you wanted to smooth it out a little bit. Or we could make something totally different. different sound, just another option. A bit more dreamy. Anyway, let's move on. This next one, Mirror Unclear. It's one of the softer sounds in this trailer. Can increase this movement just here. It's kind of fun. Let's turn this attack up. So that's Mirror Unclear. Dread. Let's hear what this one is. This one's kind of fun. There's like this pulsating low in frequency around like 50 hertz, I believe, that is affected by the mod wheel. And you can really get kind of atonal with this one. This one is used in the teaser a little bit more, but I feel like we're going long already on this, so let me just get to this last one before we jump into the sounds from the other trailer that we did. This one is used in both trailers. I love the sound. In the teaser, this is used extensively kind of as like the hook. But if you turn the movement all the way down, then you can turn it into a little bit more of a normal sounding instrument. Add some sustain and maybe even we kind of started off with this really interesting little hook. Okay, so that takes us through the sounds for the trailer. Let's hop over to the teaser now. For the sake of time, I'll try to move a little bit more quickly through this. There's a lot of overlap with the sounds that I was using anyway, but I do want to show you this drum track real quick. And pay attention to the attack knob as I kind of play through what was in this track. So that's kind of a way that you can automate the attack, and with the movement turned all the way up. It's kind of a cool sound. One other sound that was not in the other trailer that was used in the beginning of this teaser was this design patch called Separation Anxiety. And this one's kind of interesting. One thing that I love about this is that there's kind of like this interesting chord that you can make with it. But basically, I'll play a fifth right here with the mod wheel all the way down. And it kind of has a little bit of like an intensity to it. If you turn the mod wheel halfway up, it creates this chord that almost sounds neither major or minor. I think that technically, thinking about it in my head, I think that it's making a minor chord with a seventh and maybe a ninth on it, but it doesn't sound that way. It sounds like very ambiguous. And this is used in the beginning of the teaser. And I absolutely love that chord. And so the mod wheel actually changes the pitch in two directions and also changes the panning. If you're watching this on a phone or even on a laptop, you probably won't get that. But that's halfway. That's with the mod wheel all the way up. If you increase the movement knob, you'll hear it become even more dissonant. Turn this mood knob up, it'll get more distorted. And as always, the more you mess with this, the more you get really different sounds, of course. Let's go ahead and move on. Now we're going to go ahead and just move into listening to some patches. I will try to move a little bit more quickly through these. One of the first ones that you'll see when you load up the instrument is a slight tension. This one's really pretty, a little bit dissonant. So you hear some of those LFOs kind of operating at random and kind of swirling around each other. I absolutely love this patch. Um, can really bring a lot of color into it, but let's take a look at another one. Yeah, let's look at this one, Blunt Force Bass. I love this one. Without like a drum track going, it'll be hard to tell this, but there's like a slow attack where the note actually happens kind of on the offbeat. That probably is hard to tell by itself, but that's a really fun one. You'll notice that the movement knob is has fallen off. This is not one that we thought actually needed movement because the slow attack, it already has like a movement to it. Okay, let's move on to this next one. Let's look at this one called Centipede on Ice, and you'll notice that the label is different where the movement knob usually is, now says sensitivity. And that is because this one, there is movement to it, but it's affected more by like velocity than anything else. So there are a few that will have a different label there. And I'll just kind of demonstrate for you. When this sensitivity knob is turned all the way up, the amount of pressure you put on the keys will drastically affect like what's happening with it. Now I'm moving the mod wheel too, you'll see. And this actually ties in with the beats per minute of your DAW. So as this goes up, it'll sync up with it. So I'm just hitting one note there repeatedly, but changing like the pressure that I'm applying. You turn the mood knob up, it's going to change things even more. So that's that one. And yeah, you can change the timing. Sometimes if you try something really extreme, you'll get interesting results. So that's like moving the mod wheel, which is causing some really fun things to happen. Then of course you could also make it slower. Okay, let's move on. I do want to showcase this. This is one of the first ones that I kind of teased out on Instagram. This one is called Dawn Phrase, and you might recognize it if you've been following us on Instagram for a while. This is one of the earlier ones that I had messed with. This is a really beautiful patch. I love this one. When you turn the modulation up, it brings in another set of samples. And you can turn that, if you turn the movement down, you'll hear less of those LFOs. You can turn them off if you want. you can make a totally different sounding instrument with this one too. At times I've looked at making it into like a bass. And with this one, if you have the release turned down, the sustain turned down, let's turn the hold down, the decay down. Then this movement knob becomes almost like it'll like affect the brightness of the attack. Even more. So we've come a long way since that really pretty patch that we pulled in at the very beginning. There are actually quite a few design patches that I would primarily use for bass. This is one of them. Most of them you can use for a lot of different things, but this is one that I did have in mind to use as a bass. And as I'm playing it, I'm going to hold down a lower note with the left hand and just show you how it sounds. If you turn the movement down, it's going to have less glide between the notes, so less of the movement between the notes will be a lot faster. So there you can hear the mod wheel acting as a low pass filter like it does a lot of times. That one is Mephistopheles. Let's look at, maybe we'll just pick one more to look at. You guys have been sitting here a long time. Let's look at this, this one called Shudder. This is interesting. Before I move anything, I'll just let you hear how it sounds when you load it up. So a lot happening in this one. Let's hear what happens if we kind of mess with the attack and sustain and all that. So that one's called Shudder. That'll be a good one to end with. Like I said, there's 25 different design patches that that you can take a look at. With Postcard Piano, sometimes I just make other design patches for fun and then send them out, through email, which I'm sure we'll probably end up doing with this too, as I make more. If you're signed up for our email list, I'll probably end up just sending you some as I'm messing with them, just for fun. But that kind of brings us to the end of this walkthrough. Thanks for watching. We're going to put we'll have other videos, demos, and everything at teletoneaudio.com. So thanks for watching, and follow us on Instagram at Teletone Audio. And we are really, really excited to see what you guys make with Scarbo.